They said the world would never witness another phenomenon as explosive as the Demon Slayer, Mugen Train juggernaut. Yet here we are, on the brink of something that might just eclipse it with breathtaking force. This is not an overstatement. This is the sentiment reverberating across countless forums, social media platforms, and behind-the-scenes production studios. Why all the clamor? Because the final arc of Demon Slayer, Kimetsu no Yaiba, set to unfold in an ambitious trio of feature films, promises nothing less than an earth-shattering redefinition of anime storytelling. What exactly is happening, and why does Crunchyroll's chief commercial officer, Asa Suehira, sound so certain that this culminating saga will upend the industry once again? Today we will break down the big picture of why Demon Slayer's concluding chapters are poised for an unprecedented cinematic scale, and how the Infinity Castle arc stands ready to dazzle fans worldwide. We will delve into bold production strategies, the emotional anchor of a story about hope and sacrifice, and the astonishing potential for new feats in animation. So, buckle up. By the end of this deep exploration, you will glimpse why critics and fans alike are betting on Demon Slayer's final arc to surpass its own unapologetically lofty standards. Now, let's rewind for a moment to the unstoppable Mugen Train. When it chugged into theaters, many believed this adaptation was an exciting anomaly, a single, unexpected stroke of genius that blazed across the box office. But what if that extraordinary smash was only a prelude, a foreshadowing of the brilliance still to come? Let's peel back the layers of how one emotionally charged movie not only shattered global records, but also changed the fundamental approach to producing anime films from widely beloved series. In this script, we will dissect how Mugen Train managed to achieve the near impossible. It mantled a canon storyline into film format and attracted viewers in droves, even those unfamiliar with Demon Slayer's television episodes. Then, we will probe why the Infinity Castle arc is widely considered to be many magnitudes more thrilling, or at least more sweeping, than the Mugen Train storyline. Staying tuned might just awaken your curiosity in ways you never saw coming. In a bold announcement, we learned that Demon Slayer's finale will not be contained in a single, tidy package. Instead, you can prepare for 3 distinct cinematic experiences. The first is scheduled to premiere in July of 2025. That date is already etched into the minds of devotees who plan to queue up outside theaters before opening night with the same fervor that turned Mugen Train into a worldwide sensation. But why 3? Why not continue with the traditional route of concluding the story entirely in a new season, or condensing it into a single film? The official line from insiders is that the Infinity Castle arc is so grand, so multifaceted, and so pivotal that telling it effectively requires a form of triple immersion. Essentially, the idea is that no viewer should exit the theater feeling shortchanged. The emotional arcs must breathe, the character growth must resonate without feeling rushed, and the climactic battles must bloom in their full intensity. Here's where Crunchyroll's voice, particularly Asa Suehira's perspective, becomes significant. Crunchyroll is uniquely positioned to recognize shifting tides in the global anime audience, given that they have not only built a massive streaming platform, but also developed direct relationships with theaters worldwide. When Suehira publicly declared that this project aims for an unprecedented scale, he wasn't just toppling superlatives for the sake of hype. This is an analytical stance based on observable trends. The entire anime industry, from production committees to marketing strategists, took note when Mugen Train earned over $500 million globally, an astronomical feat that surpassed even the rosiest predictions. More astonishingly, Mugen Train's storyline was canon, forming a direct link between 2 key arcs of the Demon Slayer series, thereby dispelling the long-standing notion that an anime film adaptation of a manga's core continuity would never break mainstream barriers on this scale. So, how does Infinity Castle build on these breakthroughs? Well, for starters, it contains highly emotional confrontations that revolve around the story's biggest revelations. The grand spectacle of Mugen Train was riveting, but Infinity Castle promises expansions of multiple crucial storylines involving Tanjiro Kamado, his deceptively gentle but fiercely loyal sister Nezuko, and an array of formidable demon adversaries with emotional backstories of their own. This upcoming arc plunges the Demon Slayer core deeper into a labyrinthine world that literally defies normal geometry, an environment known as the Infinity Castle. Walls shift, floors rearrange, illusions abound, and the looming question is, how exactly do you fight with your life on the line, when the ground beneath you might vanish at any moment? Visually, the stage is set for Ufotable, Demon Slayer's famed animation studio, to test the boundaries of cinematic craft. The Infinity Castle is rife with mesmerizing vantage points, endless corridors, abrupt vertical drops, and swirling illusions that reflect a demon's nightmarish mental state. Just imagine the fresh creative possibilities for camera sweeps, overhead shots, and kinetic fight choreography that teleports you from one precarious position to another in an instant. Fans have already begun to speculate that Ufotable's mastery of effects animation, camera rigging, and digital compositing will reach new pinnacles here. The scale is expected to be so massive that we are likely to see new breakthroughs in merging 2D and 3D animation. By any measure, that is unprecedented, and it ensures that every punch, slash, and swirl of demonic aura can be felt as a near-tactile experience in the theater. But even the most stunning visuals need emotional heft to truly captivate. In that regard, the Infinity Castle arc arrives at the ultimate crossroad for the characters who have journeyed with us from the beginning. Tanjiro's longing to cure his sister of her demonic curse intertwines with a larger mission to save humanity from the centuries-old threat of Muzan Kibutsuji. Meanwhile, Hashira warriors carry their own scars, literal and psychological, some bearing losses that weigh heavily on their hearts. The Infinity Castle arc places these individuals on a collision course with their darkest fears. The fights aren't just physical. The characters must also face moral dilemmas, push through inner turmoil, and fight not only for victory, but for the right to be more than instruments of revenge or protectors bound by duty. Now, let's address some burning questions. How can the final arc top the emotional impact of Rengoku's resolve during his battle against Akaza in Mugen Train? Can it quite possibly surpass the heartbreaking sense of duty that fueled Tanjiro's unwavering spirit in that film? According to those privy to script details, the Infinity Castle arc is a veritable tapestry of tragedies and triumphs that go beyond what we have seen so far. One rumor suggests that each single movie, among the three planned, will contain at least one major emotional catharsis. Another whisper claims that we will see an even deeper bond form among the surviving members of the Demon Slayer Corps that surpasses anything glimpsed previously. That's quite the promise, and it has fans scouring every corner of the manga for hints about reinterpretations or expansions. Let's also remember that the final arc's triple movie rollout is no mere gimmick. Splitting a narrative this dense into 3 segments allows for a gradually amplifying crescendo. In the first installment, you can expect the tension to skyrocket as the Demon Slayers infiltrate the Infinity Castle, a domain with shifting walls, illusions, and demons lurking in every shadow. The second film, Many Suspect, will revolve around that midpoint cataclysmic confrontation that leaves characters ravaged, hearts torn, and audiences questioning if redemption is even possible. The third and final movie, presumably, is the grand showdown, the do-or-die moment that will decide whether Tanjiro and his allies can permanently end Muzan's centuries-long reign of terror. Splitting these events into separate cinematic chapters ensures each receives the visual, narrative, and emotional breathing room needed to truly deliver. By the time you walk out of that final film, you will either be cheering, weeping, or perhaps left in stunned silence. It's almost poetic that Sony's Pictures Entertainment, in tandem with Crunchyroll, is backing this imposing venture. Sony's acquisition of Crunchyroll in recent years solidified a distribution chain that can handle anime with global clout. If Mugen Train's success incrementally opened the door to mainstream acceptance, the Infinity Castle arc might blow that door off its hinges. Cinemas worldwide, from bustling Los Angeles hotspots to quiet European towns, once viewed anime film releases as specialized events. Now, they are actively courting them, marking release dates on calendars with the knowledge that the seats will be filled not only by hardcore fans, but also by curious newcomers, still wondering whether the Infinity Castle arc can truly surpass the beloved Mugen Train phenomenon in global influence. We must note that Demon Slayer's momentum has only grown with each passing season. The transition from the original series introduction, which covered Tanjiro's fateful path from humble charcoal-selling boy to demon-slaying warrior, to the unnerving arcs that followed, has steadily added layers of complexity and throngs of fans. With each televised arc, fan communities run deeper and burn brighter. Now imagine that combined with the proven success of a cinematic approach. It's akin to building a carefully layered fire and then pouring on the most potent fuel at the final stage. Mugen Train soared on heartfelt emotion, but Infinity Castle weaves in a labyrinthine set of showdowns that bring closure to every crucial storyline. If handled with the same level of care and craftsmanship that Ufotable typically applies, and early signs indicate it will, this final arc could be a masterclass in how to bring a shonen epic to its monumental close. The story resonates with universal themes: courage, loyalty, the weight of familial love, and the lengths one will go to protect cherished bonds. Audiences from around the globe latch on to such themes easily, transcending cultural barriers and language differences. Speaking of language barriers, Crunchyroll's streaming platform already hosts extensive translations and provides an array of dubbing and subtitling options. This ensures that when the Infinity Castle arc trilogy culminates, it will reverberate simultaneously in numerous countries, something Mugen Train tiptoed into but never fully realized on the same scale. That's precisely why Suhira has all the reason in the world to say that Infinity Castle will be a milestone movie for anime, or rather, set of movies. The synergy of hype and distribution is unprecedented, and the timing is perfect. The existing audience is massive, the appetite for epic visuals is unwavering, and the film industry at large is on an endless quest for new blockbusters. Now, if you are as excited as we are about the Infinity Castle's swirling illusions and the prospect of new character arcs that promise to defy conventional storylines, feel free to show a little love. A simple like from you helps keep this discussion alive and signals that you are just as hyped for the next wave of Demon Slayer brilliance. Let's keep the flame burning bright so that more curious fans can join the conversation. But let's not forget the inherent tragedy that pervades Demon Slayer's narrative. The series has always been about the bitter cost of heroism, with demon transformations often stemming from desperation or heartbreak. Even the proud Hashira warriors carry ghosts from their past. The Infinity Castle arc, as far as leaks and manga references hint, will bring these emotional specters to the forefront. Some Hashira will fight their final battles not only against monstrous demons, but also against personal demons haunting them from within. These unified themes of sacrifice and redemption, packaged in an anime spectacular, are precisely what have catapulted Demon Slayer into a permanent fixture of the public consciousness. Let us also spotlight the distinct visuals that set Demon Slayer apart. The swirling patterns of the breathing techniques, each customized for the style of the swordsman using them, will be taken to new levels of artistry. The stark contrast between the organic fluidity of water and the harsh geometry of the Infinity Castle's shape-shifting corridors is practically an art director's dream come true. This final trilogy is expected to incorporate more experimental angles, illusions that break the fourth wall, and a color palette that transforms as the intensity of battle escalates. If you thought Mugen Train's blazing night skies and demon dream sequences were a sight to behold, the Infinity Castle environment is rumored to be a visually roving kaleidoscope, a place where the very notion of stable ground can't be trusted. One might wonder if producing 3 feature-length films for the concluding chapters is purely a marketing ploy, especially after seeing the monstrous success of Mugen Train. But the fierce emotional weight behind Infinity Castle suggests a deeper purpose. As fans know, the final arc is layered. Subplots converge, side characters gain unexpected prominence, and revelations about demon origins come to a head. Cramming all of that into a single theatrical release would risk dulling the emotional resonance. By dividing it into 3 parts, each film can shine a spotlight on specific conflicts, ensuring that no character's journey is truncated or overshadowed. The goal seems to be to give every emotional beat, from heartbreak to triumph, the space it needs to resonate fully. Moreover, the Infinity Castle arc is not merely about big fights and stunning vistas. It stands as a crossroads for Tanjiro's growth. The once idealistic boy, who believed unwaveringly in the inherent goodness of others, now grapples with the moral gray areas that come from battling cunning demons who themselves have heartbreaking pasts. We have long admired Tanjiro's empathy, but in this final test, his convictions about kindness and demon redemption are pushed to their absolute limit. Nezuko's role, too, intensifies. Freed briefly from the muzzle that constrained her demonic instincts, she finds herself balancing precariously between her human heart and the monstrous impulses that occasionally rise to the surface unbidden. When we witness these internal struggles, it underscores that the Infinity Castle arc is not just about the final boss. Muzan, but also about the slow, often painful transformation of the entire cast. In parallel, we have characters like Zenitsu and Inosuke, each providing layers of comedic relief, personal insecurities, and unwavering loyalty. They have come a long way since the early episodes, and witnessing their arcs converge in a place as unrelentingly bleak yet eerily beautiful as the Infinity Castle could bring a new depth to their personalities. Even more so for the stoic Kanao or the flamboyant Hashira, each of whom represents a different approach to the demon threats. The arc is a tapestry of personal convictions, forging alliances, and heartbreak that leads to revelations crucial for the finale. This is precisely where hype transitions into genuine emotional investment. It is no longer only about intense battles in improbable spaces. It is about discovering the ultimate why behind the slaying of demons and the vow to protect the innocent. But let's pause for a second. That emotional immersion can become quite a heavy ride, so if you're enjoying the swirl of complexities here and can't wait to see how it all unfolds, remember to subscribe or follow to catch future spotlights and analyses. We have so many more hidden angles to explore in upcoming discussions, from the significance of certain demon genealogies to the creative evolution of specific breathing techniques. Returning to the big question, is Infinity Castle poised to leave an indelible mark on how the film sphere at large views anime? Based on the massive success of Mugen Train, the building hype for Infinity Castle, and the growing global recognition of anime as a major cultural force, the safe response is a resounding yes. The appetite for well-produced, narratively rich anime films is no longer niche. The final arc of Demon Slayer is set to emerge in a cinematic environment that is more open and receptive than ever before. We can also reflect on the scheduling. Announcing the first Infinity Castle installment for July of 2025 might seem like it is still a while away, but in the ramp-up to that date, we can expect official teasers and trailers that seize the internet's attention in an instant. Early concept art alone could catapult fandom discussions into a frenzy, dissecting every detail, from Tanjiro's stance to the color composition of the ever-morphing Infinity Castle hallways. Each new reveal intensifies speculation about the culminating battles and stokes excitement for subsequent installments. By the time the second and third films roll out, the hype is likely to reach an unstoppable crescendo, possibly dwarfing the mania that accompanied Mugen Train. And from Crunchyroll's vantage point, amidst Sony's overarching strategy, this is precisely the progression they plan to facilitate. All told, each piece of the puzzle suggests that Infinity Castle is not merely another action-heavy finale. Instead, it feels like the grand tapestry that ties together the heartbreak, the joys, the sacrifices, and the unwavering determination that have defined Demon Slayer from day one. Mugen Train ventured into new territory with explosive success by weaving canon plotlines into a high-stakes cinematic ride, opening the world's eyes to anime's potential for emotional gravitas on the big screen. Now, Infinity Castle stands to solidify that approach as a permanent fixture of the anime film landscape. Even more significantly, it might expand the global expectation for how anime conclusions should be handled, with both bombastic spectacle and deeply resonant storytelling. Japan has a long history of producing genre-defining anime projects, but rarely have we seen such an enthusiastic alignment of fans, corporations, and creatives for a concluding arc. The synergy behind Infinity Castle echoes the type of hype once reserved for enormous Hollywood blockbusters. We have come a long way from smaller-scale anime releases that were labors of love for niche audiences. Demon Slayer's final arc is set to be a universal event, bridging continents, cultures, and languages to celebrate a story that began with one boy's grief and blossomed into a phenomenon about empathy and the human spirit's resilience. With each passing day, new speculation emerges in fan communities. Will certain crucial battles be expanded or rearranged for more cinematic impact? Could the three-movie format pave the way for unique subplots or filler arcs that enhance the sense of closure? And how will each of the Hashira meet their fates, victorious or tragic? The conversation is swirling with enough theories to fill entire volumes of fan essays. Perhaps that is exactly the sign of an impending masterpiece. It invites speculation, unites communities, and sets imaginations alight long before the screening date arrives. As for the final note on whether Infinity Castle can outshine Mugen Train at the global box office, that remains in the realm of future possibilities, though the momentum is on its side. Mugen Train carved out a staggering path, earning $500 million. Infinity Castle is coming armed with a loyal and expanded fan base, bigger budgets, and the strategic might of distribution partners who have had years to plan for something of this magnitude. If it captures the hearts of mainstream audiences the way Mugen Train did, but with an even more labyrinthine storyline, emotional arcs that revolve around love and loss, and mind-blowing visuals, then the sky's the limit. One thing is all but guaranteed. As the saga draws to its apex, every single demon confrontation, every desperate breath of a battle-weary Tanjiro, and every emotional goodbye will be etched into the hearts of viewers. The tears, the laughter, and yes, that guilt-laden hope for redemption, for even the darkest demon, will resonate. By the time the final credits roll on the third movie, we will have witnessed not just the closure of a beloved series, but also the possible transformation of an entire medium's approach to theatrical storytelling. That is why there is so much fervor behind Asasuhira's words when he proclaims Infinity Castle to be monumental and game-changing. To the uninitiated, it might appear like typical marketing bravado, but fans who have devoured every chapter or watched each episode know that the show's creators rarely speak in empty hyperbole. The final arc of Demon Slayer is primed to do more than just entertain. It might, in every sense of the word, define a new milestone, one that we will look back on as the moment anime films finally locked in their seat at the top of the cinematic pantheon. Prepare yourself. July of 2025 will be here sooner than you think, and when the Infinity Castle opens its doors, the entire anime world will be